everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I am Doc T, along with Dr. Deonson.
Hey.
We are going to check in here with our week and then jump into some fun conversation stuff that I went down a rabbit hole last week, 2 in the morning, going over. So let's check in with Dr. Deonson. How's your week going? How'd your week go?
It was pretty good. I hate to say a quote unquote like mundane type of week, but we're in like the middle of some packages. So we're in some of that transition portion from just getting out of pain, but to more performance stuff. One of my patients right now, he is a 22, 23-year-old JUCO, junior college to college tennis player right now. I think it's either San Diego State or a San Diego College. So forgive me if I got that one wrong if you're watching. I know it's in San Diego.
Somewhere in San Diego
Somewhere
County,
in San Diego. He came to me for other problems. Previously, like last year, it was like an elbow thing, but now it was more a shoulder thing and a hip thing, and then it became like, hey, I got accepted to this college. My serve for the college game isn't quite fast enough or strong enough. So he was having some concerns. And then once he said that, I'm like, we're going to have so much fun.
I agree.
So from that point, it was more of, we're still doing some stability and flexibility work, but really it's more like, hey, let's get you explosive off a lot of things. So we've been throwing med balls all around the office. So
we've heard.
Yeah, I apologize to all the patients to get interrupted, but it's been fun. He's told me he's been playing with his friends that are at the collegiate level, and they said like, hey, your serves are coming back really hot. So I told him, hey, this weekend, just measure. I just want to see how fast you're going.
Yeah.
So that's that one.
That'll be exciting. He's doing that today then.
Yeah, most likely.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's basically the week on that one. The other ones were, I hate to call them your basic low back pain cases or your crisis type of patients that are coming in. Whereas they kind of hit me up and said, hey, low back is really bugging me this week. Don't know what happened. And it happens to just be the friends that are getting a little older now. So
it's that time.
Yeah, they're not 22 anymore, but they're like 27, 28, 29. And, they get up a little weird. Like, ooh, that one was weird.
Late 20s, man. Starts creeping in.
So they're at the freak out stage right now. So got him over to the discovery visit, kind of just saw what was going on, explained what was going on. So we have a couple plans for them. And it's kind of fun.
Yeah, good. Yep. Yeah, the fork in the road we talked about last time was that we get that age anywhere from 28 to 35.
Yeah.
And you better pay attention, man, because that'll come back to haunt you. And I've got a few of those. I was just looking at my schedule this past week of like, this week was an interesting week for me because I just had like kind of across the board different things from your 32-year-old fathers with low back issues, found out it might be a bed. Ooh. So we're addressing some issues there. It's interesting. I got my JUCO football players came in. He had a rough season last year. Back in from a calf thing to now a hamstring thing. And all on the same side and all triggers kind of from the same thing. And just a sidebar, it was interesting because you and I talked about it briefly this week.
Yeah.
I was asking them what they're doing for workouts, things like that with the team, strength coach and strength training. They said they squat about 2 or 3 days a week. 1 to 2 days a week. They do hang power cleans, but do not do deadlifting at all.
So nothing from the floor?
Nothing from the floor. And I just kind of was like, my gut knee-jerk reaction is that's very, very wrong. But I don't judge things. I'm like, oh, they probably have their reasons. Yeah. But let me go ahead and like process in my mind because it doesn't make sense. Any power athlete should be pulling something from the floor. Yeah. In my opinion, especially under the age of 25. If you're a pro, you're 27, 28 years old. Like I see with the Chargers guys, these guys are not, their 1 rep max is kind of already done. Yeah. That's like their off-season training. Come season, it's all about pliability, elasticity, and not getting hurt. So it's a lot of preventative care, a lot of things like make sure the tendons are strong and the ligaments are strong. It's just a different thing.
Lots of lower rep schemes, all of those.
I mean, it's, the stuff they do. So I'm jealous sometimes. I want to go join them. I don't know if that'd be appropriate just because it'd be fun to try. I don't know if I could lug a 120-pound med ball down the field, though. That would be fun for them to watch, just to watch.
We just got to film that. We just see a whole line and then Dr. T in the back.
Is he still trying? Yeah, he's been out there for an hour. He'll get it. He's going to pass out. God will try. God bless it. But it was an interesting topic, and I was kind of like taken by that. I was like, I feel like deadlifting would be a good thing for them doing. Kettlebell swings, they don't really do. If they do, it's very light. And I was like, God, because, kettlebell swings and deadlifting, especially like Romanian straight-legged deadlifts, things like that, the glute-hamstring combination it goes with that is just monumental. Yeah. Like, not to have that is, you can do bridges and hip thrusts and things like that, but it's just a different thing, and one's with gravity, so it's just different. So that was an interesting conversation. Dad was, a little concerned because both his boys are playing, but he was saying even in their college, his oldest son is at, they don't deadlift either. Now that being said, I don't know. I think he's a junior in college, so he's probably hitting that age where it's like you kind of. There should be some deadlifting involved, or something like cleans, or something from the floor, because depending on your position, your hands on the ground sometimes. Yeah. So you're gonna be like getting up and running into somebody. It feels like you should have something with that. Anyway, so that was there. One of the guys, who was it that came in? Oh, yes, firefighter guy. So we had a great talk about the topic we're going to go over today. He's a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
Big, strong guy. Hurt his shoulder. I think he was doing bench press.
Common, yeah.
I have a few bench press shoulder pains. I hate the bench press. Like, to me, it's like at some point, even in football, like the bench is kind of pointless unless it's part of your sport.
Yeah.
And that's another interesting topic we'll talk about another time. But it's when exercise turns into sport, now we get hurt. That's usually when it happens.
Yeah.
If you're just exercising to exercise, you're being smart, hopefully with kettlebells or dumbbells and doing, chest press and things like that, push-ups, gymnastics, things of those nature. But yeah, that was an interesting one. And then he got into this, and then we're going to chime right into this now. I'm going to go right into it.
Go for it.
He asked about mobility. Everybody always asks mobility. And I said, well, what have you been doing with mobility lately? And he gave me a list of things. And I smiled and I said, okay, the question is though, if you sprain a ligament, like mobility isn't going to fix that.
Yeah.
Flexibility is not going to fix that. You have to stabilize the area.
Yeah.
Right? First, get it out of pain, inflammation, all that good stuff. Then stabilize it. Once stabilized, then we can discuss the next steps. But typically speaking, if you have an injury, it's generally a pull or strain. So sprain, strain.
Yeah.
Typically. Well, if you pull a muscle like a pulled hamstring, would you go stretch that hamstring?
You shouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like you just injured it, and the mechanism of injury was overstretch or hypercontraction and over ink and pink tore. Like my sound effects, that's what we need on there.
Yeah. We'll figure that one out.
Another time. But we want to dive in today because this is what hit me at 2 a.m. I haven't think I texted this guy at like 10, 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. So that's how
knowing he's up.
Yeah. I'm a night owl, just naturally. But when I got that text at like 11 or 10 around there, I was like, what is Doc T doing?
What's the old man doing up? He's in bed by 9. It's a true story. Bed by 9:30 is a late night. My wife always tries to get me past like 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honey, I don't sleep in. It's 5 a.m. I just wake up, regardless of when I went to bed. But this rabbit hole. So in my career, of all the things I've done, I used to do seminars where I did a lot of like this type of work. In fact, I was the injury guy. So it was mobility, flexibility, treatment, rolling out, all of these things I took care of. All of a sudden, my wife told me about something, about a show she's watching and something they were doing. And like, remember in the movies where they show like all these visuals going flying by your head and all of a sudden like zaps you and you're like, woof, woof, like it just hits you. All of a sudden, 6 years of seminars, 30 plus seminars, all this stuff that I've done and presented and
just kind of clicked.
It just rushed in my head and I was like, boom. And I was like, whoa. So I began a rabbit hole for like 3.5 hours. Literally. My wife's like, you want to bed? I said, soon. Head down, just going. And me and my iPad here that I write on, just you can't read. I have to go back and transcribe it. But nonetheless, point of it is, we're getting stuck in these weird rabbit holes where the answer to everything is mobility. The answer to everything is flexibility. And I started thinking, why is that? Like, I know it came up late 2000, like 2009, 10, 11, somewhere in there. It started getting really popular. 2015, 16, it started to really take off. So I remember being at a CrossFit event that I was working, and a young lady came in with a duffel bag, massive. Like I could have fit in this duffel bag. Yeah. She had more like quote unquote mobility equipment in that bag than I mean, she's supporting the mobility
she kept
industry.
It in business.
I mean, I was like, and I watched her warm up, nothing to do with anything stabilizing or joint function or anything. It was just roll and stretch and do this and pull this and yank that. And I was like, okay. And so as a sports clinician, you understand that I'm looking at you from all angles. We're not just looking at, can you touch your toes or can you put your arm over your head or can you do this? Like, how are you connecting all these dots in a athletic movement, whatever. So anyway, so I go through this whole thing. I sit down and I thought to myself, okay, this is what we want to talk about. This is going to be, we're going to have a 4-part series on this. Today, we're going to cover flexibility. We're going to try to define it, clarify it. And you know us, the most important thing to both of us is make sure the intent of what you're doing. If you pull a hamstring, don't stretch it. Don't do anything actually until you figure out exactly what's going on, because those things are tricky.
Yeah. If it's like a hamstring or is it actually a low back thing? Like those are questions we have to ask.
Is it a calf thing, a hip thing? Like what's going on with your body? Unless it's dehydration, malnutrition, things like that, where you don't need enough or dehydrate enough. But even still, it's something's up, right? Something's off. So anyway, that was kind of our thing. So today we're going to jump into flexibility. So I'm just going to kind of make it simple. Flexibility is the body's ability to get into a position, but this is the kicker, passively, meaning that somebody else is putting you in that position. So if I was going to take like David's arm, I'd have him rest it. I would flex his hand to his shoulder to check the flexibility of his elbow joint, right? Now we can accompany that with muscles. So if I'm going to flex your elbow, the tricep has to relax, right? Has to stretch, so to speak. And this applies to your cervical spine, your shoulder, your back, your neck, your foot, your toe, finger, thumb, whatever. It applies across the board.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest fallacies is people say, like I say, what's your flexibility goal? Because it's kind of like they're saying it, so I'm going to use their words, regardless of semantics. And they say, I want to touch my toes. Let me squash the myth real quick right here on live camera. Touching your toes is not a stretch. It never has been a stretch, never will be a stretch, just not a stretch. It's an actual exercise. And we use it as kind of part of our assessment to look at certain things in various pieces of the body parts on how you move as a system, right? That would be more akin to like a mobility thing.
Yeah.
With some stability too, depending on what we're looking for. Again, intent. So touching your toes is an actual exercise. It's not a stretch. However, when someone says, I want to be able to touch my toes, that's kind of exciting because I'm like, oh, that's attainable.
Yeah.
I can even do it in office some days, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You're touching your toes.
Yep.
Just depends on what mechanism we're looking at, right? So that flexibility piece is not really what it is. So flexibility is just that basic passive, can my joint get into space?
Yeah.
So if I'm assessing David and I want to see what his shoulder's doing, I'm going to have him probably lay down, actually take gravity out of it because gravity can't be part of this party, right?
Yeah.
Take gravity out of it. I grab his arm and I take his arm overhead while he's laying down. I can't tell you how many people's arms flop backwards behind them like it's nothing.
Yep.
But if I stand up and have him try to do that,
Difficult.
not seeing it, not happening. And that's a different thing. That's a mobility stability component. That's that next part 2, part 3 thing. The part 1 is that just flexibility. Now, the myth of my hamstrings are tight or my shoulders are tight or my neck is my tight, blah, blah, blah. These aren't really tight. Like muscles don't shrink,
Yeah.
right? They could become, when you add gravity in, you have to posture up, means stands up against, gravity pulling you down. That posturing, movement, position thing, whatever, that's a different component. Flexibility is not that same thing. So what's your experience? Like, what's your experience? You know, I can talk about this for hours. 20 years of hearing this. But what's your? I mean, you're a new doc.
New doc, yeah.
A few years in, you come from some medical background. So chiro school we went to was medical background.
Yeah, the one
which
that we went
both
to, yeah.
wanted. Like philosophy's great. It was my major, but I liked the medical side, right?
I keep forgetting your philosophy.
I was. I didn't make it through, but I was because I had to switch gears because I gave up on law school and went to chiro school instead. But it's one of those things that when you see it, like I saw the beginning of it, and I saw it, grow into whatever it is. And I dealt with the I hate to say misdiagnosis, but the misread lack of fill in the blank that I had to now correct, which is really challenging sometimes. But what are your experiences?
Every time I'm talking to a patient, they say, I want to be more flexible. Usually a lot of people will often think it is tied to less pain, which in some ways I kind of can see that. Sometimes when you stretch a muscle, especially if it hasn't been torn or strained or anything like that, it can feel good. So I can understand that to a point.
100%.
Right? So
100%.
I just ask them what they do. But when we think about like, is this really going to help the patient? Sometimes it will, but for the most part, most of the problems, if you've been stretching it for the long amount of time and really no changes happened, but you feel good afterwards, it's not fixing the main problem.
I was asked, how long does it feel good for?
Yeah.
As a follow-up question is, you got 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 seconds? What do you got?
Yeah. That's a big one too. And I always get the question of like, should I stretch before or after I work out? Should I do all that? That's a different rabbit hole. That could be another 30, 40 minute talk. But generally speaking too, like Doc T has done this on my shoulder because I powerlift, right? So the misconception is that when you powerlift, you're just going to be stiff because you have muscle, right? Yeah. My arm went all the way back passively, right? But since my sport doesn't go overhead naturally, I have trouble going overhead.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah, it's not comfortable. So is that a flexibility thing or mobility thing? Those are the fun questions to ask, right?
Falls in that mobility, stability. Because mobility and stability are kind of, and you guys will see this. We'll actually do that talk as a collective because it'd be easier than trying to separate.
Yeah.
Flexibility is a good 10-minute, 15-minute talk. Yeah. Go into some stuff, but I think that's so good.
And even some of the tension that we feel isn't necessarily the muscle tight. Sometimes it's just the nerve just being stretched.
Nerve. Yeah. Ligament. Capsule. These things are all part of the movement process.
Yeah. For example, like technically we do a test called an SLR, a straight leg raise. That's kind of the same position as you touching your toes. So if you feel some of that tension,
with the exception of one thing missing.
Without gravity in there.
100%. Yeah. It's funny how that changes everything.
Yeah. So if you feel tight, but you can do a full SLR, it's something else.
Yes. So I'll share a story because I love this story. Because there's stories that come up and they're from very smart people and I have complete respect for them. I just wonder sometimes how much of the kind of dogmas, the bro science we're really just believing.
Yeah.
So this person, I'm going to keep the gender out because it'll narrow down real fast. So they were a very big athlete in the CrossFit games, like 2010, 11, 12, I think is when they made their uprising. They're really big name. Well, they, wherever they came from, would literally fly to another country. Now, it wasn't a long flight, so I gave away kind of where it is, because in America, it's a long flight everywhere. And so to get worked on.
Yeah.
And they were completely 100% sold. It was their hamstrings are tight. That was the reason for everything. Now, this particular athlete I've watched because I was a very big fan of CrossFit, still am, in some varying degrees, like High Rock, same thing. But I had watched her, and in my head, and thinking this as a doctor, I'm saying this as a doctor, in my head, I thought, like, I would love to work with her, get my hands on her, because I see so many things that they were doing wrong, fundamental movement pattern stuff. And so they came into my office because they got a referral from another friend of mine that I worked on, same level athletes, and I ran them through the assessment. It really is hard to do that.
Well, I'll see if I can clear it up for you.
I just want to say what it is, but they were on the table and they spent about 10 minutes explaining to me the tightness of the hamstrings.
Yeah.
I took their leg straight, didn't bend, didn't even fight me, all the way back until it was about that far from their face. So the shin was 10 inches from their nose.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, there is literally
you don't have to have hamstrings.
nothing wrong with your hamstrings. In fact, they're too flexible. Like, they're probably lost their ability to stabilize really well because the hamstrings do help stabilize the knee. Okay. Then I checked a few other things. I got to her calves. Again, blip that piece out. Their calves. And it was like +5 dorsiflexion. So what that means out there is if I have my foot, so this is my shin and my foot, the foot should be able to go back, bend backwards, like toe towards your head, foot towards your head or towards your, I guess head, right? Face. Yeah. About 35 degrees. That's about a normal range of motion. She was pointed towards the other way, 5 degrees. And that's as far as I can get her in. So I said, okay. And so we're talking this now. That's a genuine flexibility component. We're checking her dorsiflexion of her ankle and her flexion of the hip, her hamstring. And we're checking that quote unquote flexibility. Now, this tells me information that when she's trying to use her hamstring and it's that loose, like that much range of motion, she might struggle to get it to activate in chronological order, right? So your core, your hips, your hamstring, low back, those things all have to work together in unison. But it also told me that their calf was just a mess. And I thought, okay, stand up and squat. Okay, she squats for me, her knee hurts. Okay, knee hurts. Hamstring. Okay. On the table, on your stomach. She lays down on her stomach, I work on her calf. And I work the bejesus out of it. She stands up, squats, there's no knee pain. Gone completely. And she looked at me and said, I'm not even joking. They looked at me and said, are you going to work my hamstring? I was like, sure. Absolutely. So to understand everybody who's listening to us, what that means for us is we just figured out your problem. If I work one muscle or two even, and the pain you experience doing whatever movement it is gone, whatever flexibility issue or functional, whatever, we found it. That's what's causing your problem. But they were so fixated on what they've been working on. It is now the center of the world, universe, right? Yeah. This has to be addressed. Otherwise, I'm not getting what I need. And that was the weirdest situation for me. Yeah. And even though I did it, showed it, proved it again, she went on to find another doctor to just do the hamstrings. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, that's one of those situations where you kind of go, okay. But that was back to flexibility. Yeah. That was a true, here's checking your flexibility. She's lying on the table. They're lying on the table. Whatever. She's lying on the table and the leg comes back. There's plenty of hip flexion. There is literally no restriction. The calf I was still in shock. I've never seen a +5 degree. Like I can always get somebody to neutral. Yeah. And even if I pushed as hard as I could, it wouldn't budge. That was crazy to me.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So when people say they're tight, that's what we're going for. She felt tight hamstrings. I found a dysfunctional calf. That's where it comes into play. Yeah. So when they say things about flexibility and what I can do, and feel this or feel that, it's actually more akin to there's a dysfunction in the system that you're just feeling in this particular area. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The most common one is like the hamstrings always feel tight. And,
so common.
But for a lot of the times, like you're sitting, so half the hamstring is in a very lengthened position.
Yeah.
So why do you need to stretch that part if it's already if it's already long.
And
What's the point?
So for those out there listening that don't know, we have one joint muscles and two joint muscles.
Yeah.
So we have muscles like the hamstrings, the quads, well, some of the quads, most of the hamstrings, that are two joint muscles. So they go the hip and the knee. They cross over two joints. What that means is when we're sitting, I love this paradigm too. It's always kind of a trippy thing to me. Where your glute is, that part of the hamstring is in full stretch or pretty close to, meaning that not stretching it, but it's elongated.
Yeah.
But the bottom half by the knee is actually shortened.
Yeah, especially if it's at that 90 degrees.
Yeah, if I'm sitting. I'm sitting here.
If I'm being lazy, then
That's a little lounging.
Yep.
But on the flip side, my quad by my knee is stretching, and then the quad by my hip is actually shortened.
Yep, shortened. Like that.
And you think about that in a muscle and your function, like squatting, jumping, running, anything like that. It's a trippy thing to think about.
Yeah.
Because you have half the muscles doing one thing, half the muscle, but they're opposing each other.
Yeah.
And that's what allows them to do that. That's why we can sit, right? That reciprocal inhibition process in a way. So, important of the story when it comes back to flexibility, when you're trying to judge whether you're flexible or not, one, it's a passive thing.
Yeah,
so you can't
passive.
really check yourself, right?
Yeah.
But unless you just flop your arm off the side of the bed. But you can't really, well, I guess you could raise your leg in a way.
In some ways, yeah.
I
If
guess
you were to grab
probably
a towel,
Get a towel or something like that. You could
towel,
probably
belt, something like that.
get some, like, and that's also a good passive stretch for fascia, I found too.
Yeah.
But that's another topic. But that's one of those things where it's possible to check that. And if you want to for fun, actually, I think it'd be a fun challenge for people out there. If you think you really have tight hamstrings, lie on the bed. I think a towel is probably the best. You want to get around your entire foot, not your arch so much, but the end of the foot by the toes. But don't get just the toes. Get the part of the foot. Lay down, wrap it around it, grab it with your hands, pull it up as high as you can go. And kind of pull it until you feel that stretch.
Yeah.
Not uncomfortable, but you start to feel the stretch. And take a note. If you're getting close to 70 to 80 degrees of hip flexion, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, you're within normal ranges.
By far.
Yeah.
By far. And that's interesting. I never thought about it that way. That is a good way to look at that. Yeah. So if you ever feel like your hamstrings are tight, one, I'm never going to say don't stretch. Like the best athletes in the world stretch. You certainly should be stretching.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that at all. However, what's my saying?
Which one? Do you have a lot of sayings?
Somebody told me I should write a memoir book on all the experiences and people I've seen over the years.
Yeah.
I'm like, because there's some funny stories.
The stability
A lot,
flexibility?
yeah. No, yes. So basically what I say in the office for a lot of patients who come in, because like David touched on, if you're stretching and it's helping, that's great.
Yeah.
But to what degree?
Yeah, what degree?
Right? Are we like, if it's really helping, why are you in our office then? It's like obviously something else is going on. I do like that you found a modality that kind of makes you feel a little better.
Yeah.
That's always good, right? Pain mitigation is, if you come into our office with pain, our number one goal, everything else aside, is to help get rid of the pain.
Yeah.
That's the number one goal. The number two goal is then to figure out why you have the pain and try to fix that too.
Yeah.
And that's really the ultimate goal, right? But you keep with the stretching, take notes as far as like how long it helps for, but understand it's a taking an Advil, but a healthier way.
Yeah.
Not fixing a problem. So just keep that in mind out there. So this one's all we're going to do on this one with flexibility stuff. I think it's pretty self-explanatory at this point.
Yeah.
The next one we're going to roll into is mobility and stability, and that's going to be a party.
Yeah, that one gets a little bit more complicated, but in a good way.
Yeah, a lot of fun with that one. I'm going to play a little devil's advocate on David when we get there because I'm going to test his what he's got, his chops, and see if he can explain himself out of it.
All right.
So that'd be fun. Yeah, that's just for fun. Yeah. So all right, guys. Any questions on this stuff? Shoot us a question in the comments section.
You can DM us too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Message us, DM us.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to do on
DMS,
that one.
is that a new word now?
No, just DM us. And direct message.
DM us. I think it said DMS. I was like, God, this new language. I'm not keeping up anymore. DM us.
Not send DMS.
I'm not even saying
DM us.
saying anymore. But yeah, reach out. Let us know. We love this stuff. As you all know out there, if you don't know, now you know. We do offer that free assessment thing. So by all means, if you really are curious what's going on with you and you want to find out what's going on with you, at least some understanding, just call us. We're literally doing it for free just to help you out. If there's something we can do more or we want to work together, great. But come get it done. Why not? So anyway, I'm Doc T.
I'm Dr. David.
We'll see y'all next time. Part 2.